Hello everybody, welcome to Selenium training. In this training, we have people from all the backgrounds. Some of them are very new to Selenium, some of them have a background in Selenium, and some of them they want to implement Selenium in their project or clear interview with Selenium. Okay, so in this course we will go very systematically. We'll touch each and every aspect of Selenium. Okay, and many of you have been asking me very different questions on Selenium before the course, right? So I'll be taking up the questions one by one and answering them before I actually start with the course. So please bear with me for 5 minutes so that I can answer your some frequently asked questions before the training starts. Okay, I have prepared a list of some of the questions which people asked. Ram was asking me the basic question that what exactly is Selenium. He's a little bit confused about it. If you go to the Selenium website, that is seleniumhq.org, the first line says that Selenium automates browser. That means Selenium is an automation testing tool which only works on browsers. It will not work for your desktop based applications. So if anybody is thinking that he can automate his desktop based application using Selenium, he cannot. Okay, regarding the browsers, it will work on all the browsers like Mozilla, IE, Chrome, Opera, Safari. It works across multiple browsers and it works across multiple operating systems like Windows, Linux, Unix, Solaris operating system. So that's the power of this tool. That is, it can work across multiple operating systems and across multiple browsers. Okay, but there is just one condition for this tool. The condition is that you have to learn either one of these 6 programming languages: Java, C#, Ruby, Python, Perl or PHP. Okay, in this course we will be learning Selenium with Java. If your website is made in C#, it doesn't mean that you have to use Selenium with C#. You can use it with any language. Selenium implementation is independent of the language in which you have made your website. Okay, so Selenium is a tool which works across multiple browsers, multiple operating systems and is available in many programming languages. So this is the major advantage of Selenium tool. And there are various components of Selenium like WebDriver, RC, IDE, Grid, which we will be looking in this course. Fine. Now another question which was asked to me was what are the course contents? What all we will be covering in the course? Okay. For that you can go to my website qtpselenium.com, and over here I have clearly described in each of the tabs out here: WebDriver, RC, Flash testing, continuous integration with SVN, Maven, database testing. If you want to register for the training, you can, which already many of you have, right? So the course is mentioned very clearly out here. Okay, and after that I was asked whether I will be covering some projects or frameworks in the course or not. Yes, I will be. Each and every topic which I take up, I will take up with the help of projects and websites. Fine. And in the end, in from module 18 to 21, I will be discussing about frameworks. Okay. Now I want to use Selenium in my project. Can you help me? Yeah, Sakshi was asking me this question. Yes, Sakshi, I can help you out. Please meet me after the class. I'll definitely help you out with this. Okay. Only Selenium IDE is enough. Yeah, Rajendra was asking me, why can't we just use Selenium IDE? Rajendra, as we move with the course, your question will be answered. IDE is not a tool which you can use to test applications across multiple browsers, although it is very powerful. Okay. Now a very important question: how much Java is required and why do I need to learn Java? Why are you teaching me Java? Look, learning Selenium without learning Java is like jumping into river without learning how to swim. Okay, many people they make this mistake. They directly try to learn Selenium, WebDriver or RC. They don't look at Java and they fall into trouble and they lose their interest. Okay, so first 7 modules of this training I will be taking up Java. Okay, giving you a brief background. This is a sample program in Selenium I have written. Look, the whole code is Java code. You cannot run away from Java if you want to learn your RC or WebDriver. When I run this code in Eclipse, it will simply open a website quicker.com and it will navigate to it. Okay, see that quicker.com opens and Selenium has made the browser navigate to quicker.com. So this is purely in Java. You have to learn it. Don't run away from it. It is very easy. Systematically things happen, slowly things happen, and things they will fall into places. Okay, So don't worry about programming. Many people are scared from that. You cannot do anything if you are scared. Okay. I want to learn Selenium and clear interview. What should I do? Well, it will take you some time to learn this tool, some practice, interview questions you'll have to solve. Give yourself some time. It's not something which can be done overnight. Okay. So you can clear interviews. Only thing is practice is required. I'll be giving you lots of exercises, videos, tutorials, and classroom lectures which can help you out with this. Okay, how tough is Selenium? Selenium is very easy. Only thing is you need to learn programming language, and programming language is something which you can learn only by practicing. Until unless you don't do it with your own hands, you cannot learn it. Okay, how much time is required to learn Selenium? Approximately 6 to 7 weeks. Okay, and the last questions which was asked by Ram, if I just buy the videos, how will I clear my doubts? Okay, yes, you can just buy the videos and watch them at your own pace. You can clear your doubts by contacting me anytime over Skype or Gtalk or through email, and you can also join the regular weekend doubt clearing sessions in order to clear your doubts. Fine, so let's start with the course. Let's start with Java. Okay, now the first thing which you need to do is that you need to install Java on your machine. For installing Java, all you need to do is that you need to go to google.com and simply type download Java, right? So you will get the first link, click on that, you will get the java.com website's home page and you will be able to download Java from here. It's just like downloading and installing any other software. To verify whether Java has been successfully installed on your system or not, you can go to program files and check whether there is a folder called Java present inside it. So if this folder is present, that means Java has been successfully installed on your system. Fine. Now you need something where you can write your Java code. Okay. You need some platform, some tool which can be useful in writing your Java code. For example, many of you must have seen the C language, right? In C language, we used to use the Turbo editor, Turbo C, Borland Turbo C editor. In that editor, we used to actually go and write the C language. If you know QTP, then in QTP we write the VB script somewhere in between, right? So in the expert view of QTP. If you don't know QTP, no worries, right? But the crux is that you need to have something where you can write the Java code. Now Java code can also be written in a notepad, but it's not a very good practice because when you implement Selenium, okay, when we implement Selenium in advanced, like when we implement the frameworks and all, for example, when we implement the JUnit data driven framework or the JUnit hybrid framework, we will be making lot of Java files. So we need an editor like Eclipse. Eclipse is an editor which helps you to write your Java code, run and execute the code very easily and manage big projects. Okay, so you can download Eclipse from internet again. Just go to Google and type download Eclipse. Okay, go to Eclipse downloads, the first link, and you need to download. Let it open. Right, you need to download the Eclipse IDE for Java EE developers, the 212 MB one. Okay, download this one, and corresponding to your Windows, whether your Windows is 32 bits or a 64 bit, download the corresponding version. Fine. So you have Java on your system and you have Eclipse on your system after that. Now when you download Eclipse, Eclipse actually comes as a zip file. Okay, you don't have to install Eclipse, you simply have to download, and once you download Eclipse and extract the zip file, you will get the folder like this, Eclipse. You open this folder and in this there will be an exe file called eclipse.exe. Fine. this is not an installable version. When I double click on this exe file, Eclipse will directly start. Okay, and a small window called Workspace Launcher will be opened. Okay, I am not talking about Selenium as of now. I am not talking about JUnit as of now. I am not talking about some advanced concept. I am just teaching you Java so that your roots are very strong. So that when you see the Selenium code, you are able to grasp it very fast. Okay, instead of wasting time. Right? So first we will launch Eclipse and we get a workspace launcher. In this window, you can specify the path where you will actually be storing all your Java code. Okay, so I will create a new path. I'll click on browse and suppose I want to create something in C drive. I'll create a new folder called workspace. Right, in C drive I create a folder called workspace, and inside this I'll tell Eclipse that store all the project code. I click on OK and Eclipse opens up. It will take some time for Eclipse to open up. Right? Meanwhile, Eclipse opens up. I'll tell you about one of the questions which somebody was asking me was that why do we need to learn JUnit framework when we are learning Selenium? Somebody asked me before this class. Okay, look, JUnit is when you are making a framework in Selenium. Okay, when you are having suppose 1000 test cases which have to be run one after another. Okay, you need to make a record. You need to know what happened when each and every test case was running. You need to parameterize your test cases. That means you need to read the test data from some Excel file for each and every test case. You need to generate some reports. You need to generate some logs. Logs will tell you what happened at what point of time when the scripts were executing. So it's not just about executing scripts in Selenium. Okay, it's about more than that. Like you'll have to do a lot of other things. So for that we use JUnit framework. It helps us to organize our test cases in big projects. So this is just a very rough description which I have given you. Okay. When we'll study JUnit, you'll actually come to know what's the actual usage of JUnit. Fine. Meanwhile, my Eclipse has opened. Okay. And this is the welcome screen of Eclipse. I can close this, and this is the main part of or the main portion of Eclipse. Okay. This central portion is the one in which I will be writing my Java code. You can close this outline and task list. There's no use with this. Fine. On the left hand side, I have a project explorer. Okay. Now I have got Eclipse. I have got Java installed on my system. So I can make my Java programs inside Eclipse and run them. Right. Only prerequisite for Eclipse is that Java should be there. Make sure that you install Java and then download Eclipse and run the exe file. Right. So now I will be creating my first Eclipse project. Okay, the first Java project, that is I will right click on it and I will say new project and Java project, next. Right, I will name my project as module 1. Okay, module 1, next, and finish. Do you want to open this perspective now? Click on no. I'll tell about the perspectives later on. Right. So how did I create a project? Right click, new project, and select the Java project from there. Click on next and enter the project name. The project name should not be, you should actually give it a very logical name. Okay. You should not use some special characters inside it. Otherwise Eclipse will throw an error. Right. Now Just a minute. Let me expand this project. I'll expand this project, and inside this project you will see a SRC, that is the source folder, and JRE system library folder. This JRE system library is the Java runtime environment which actually got installed on your system when you install Java. Okay, so this is basically the Java which is installed on your system, and this is the source folder in which you will be writing or making all your Java programs, right? If you right click on this project, there will be number of options available here, and we will be exploring all these options as we proceed with the course. The last and the most important option is the properties. Okay, when you click on the properties option, you get the project location. See, the location is under C drive, under workspace module 1, right? C drive workspace was the path where I had actually created, the path which I had actually told Eclipse to store the Java code, right? C drive workspace, and this is the module 1 project. If I open this project, there will be a source folder inside it, a bin, a dot setting, a dot class path file, and a dot project file. We'll look at each and every of these as we go along with this course. For time being, just concentrate on the SRC folder. In Eclipse, only SRC folder is visible to us. This is because as developers or as Selenium testers, we will be writing all the code inside the SRC folder. Okay, right now if I open the SRC folder, it will be blank. Fine, and in Eclipse also it is blank. If I right click on it and say new class, and I give my class name as first Java class, make sure the class name has got no space, no number. Okay, what do you mean by class? Java class means a simple Java file, a .java extension file, that's also known as a Java class file. Okay, and you create this class, give it a proper name, only an alphabetic name. If you have to include a number, you can include it in the end, right? And click on this checkbox, public static void main. Fine, and click on finish. So what will happen is that you will see that first class.java has been made and some code is generated. The font is very small. I'll just increase the font. I will go to Windows Preferences, General, Appearance, Colors and Fonts, Basic, and Text font. I'll just increase the font so that you are able to see it very clearly. Right. So this is the font I have increased. So first Java class.java is the file generated, and if you look at your module 1 source folder and hard disk, then this is the file. It can be opened in a notepad as well. As I told you, you can do Java coding in notepad as well, but it's not a good practice. You should use Eclipse when using Selenium. Okay, so first Java class .java is the extension for every Java file. Okay, now if you look at this class carefully, the first line says public class first Java class. There is a curly bracket opening, and in the end there is a curly bracket closing. Fine. Now for what is public? First let us see. Public, please have some patience. As we cover 3 to 4 lectures, you will be very clear what public means. Okay, so just accept some things as of now as they are. Okay, some things will be confusing to you, that what is static over here, what is void, why is something in red color, why is something in black color. Okay, so these things will be clear to you as you go on with the course. Okay, so accept some things as they are. Okay, now this is a main function and these are the comments. You can remove these lines. These lines are comments. Comments means that these are not a part of the code. These can be used to write something else, to write some comments that the code is doing something like that. Right? I can write my comment that this is a sample program and I can put the comment on the first line of a class. Okay, so a comment starts with a double slash. Right, now public static void main is a function in which control comes for the first time. Right, and inside this you can write system.out.println. Okay, I will write learning Selenium. Now what is system.out.println? This is the command to print something in Java. If you want to print something, then system, capital S. Remember, Java is a case sensitive language. If you give small s, immediately Eclipse will give you an error. That's the advantage of Eclipse. That is, it will point out the errors in your program automatically. Okay, if you move your mouse over the error, okay, you will get possible solutions. See, change to system, capital S is one of the solutions. So I click on it and automatically it gets changed. Suppose this is the starting bracket of this class, this is the ending bracket of this class. I somehow miss the ending bracket. Immediately Eclipse will throw an error again. And when you move your mouse over the error, it will tell you that insert a closing bracket to complete the body of the class. So that is the advantage of Eclipse. This is not possible in Notepad. Okay. Now I have given a command system.out.println learning Selenium. Okay. When I run this program with Eclipse, how do you run this program with Eclipse? This is the button on the top to run the program. You can click on it and in the output, in the console output below, you will get learning Selenium printed. Okay, if you right click on this file and say run as Java application, again you will run the program. There are two ways to run this code. Either right click run as or click on this button. Fine. Now I am teaching very basic stuff today, guys. Okay, in next coming lectures I will be teaching very basic concepts because I don't want to move over to bigger concepts which people actually expect in the training, that tell me how Excel files are read, tell me how parameterization is done, tell me how hybrid framework is made, tell me how JUnit is done. Nothing like that. Ajax testing with Selenium. The very basic thing is make your roots very strong. If you don't know 1, 2, 3 and 4 in mathematics, you cannot add two numbers. Okay, this is the mistake which many people make, right? So this is coming over to Java. This is the command to print your name. Now this system.out.println command, you will have to again write that again and again. So there is a shortcut for writing this command. You write SYSO, right, and hit Control spacebar of keyboard. Okay, so the shortcut is SYSO and concat. After that you have to hit Control spacebar. Okay, now whatever you are writing in this, you has to be given in double quotes until or unless it's a number. If I am giving letters, then I have to give them in double quotes, otherwise I will get an error like this. Okay, but if I am giving numbers, I can give number directly. Okay, so system.out.println prints something onto the console. Right, now there is a potential difference between system.out.println and system.out.print in Java. Okay, this can be asked in the interviews as well. Okay, this is a very simple question. What is the difference between system.out.println and system.out.print? Okay, now suppose I write system.out.println first line. Okay, and then I write system.out.println second line. After that I write system.out.println third line, and I run this code. When I run this code, each and every output is printed on a different line. Okay, so what system.out.println does is that it prints something and then it moves the cursor to the new line. Okay, so after printing first line, the cursor moves to the new line, and whatever is printed, that is second line, gets printed on the second line, and then cursor moves to the next line. Had I given ln over here and no ln out here in the middle one, okay, and I would have run the program, I would have got the output like this, because first line would have printed, and after printing first line, the cursor would have moved to the new line. It would have printed second line, but print statement means that don't move the cursor to the new line after printing. So once second line gets printed, the cursor never moves to the new line. So the third line gets printed out here. Okay, so this is the difference between system.out and out.println and system.out.print. If I remove ln from here as well, what will happen? Everything will be printed in the same line, but in the end the cursor would be in the next line because the third line is having ln. Okay, so this is a very simple fundamental concept. Okay, now every programming language, if you talk about any language, say Java or C or C Sharp, has got data types. Okay, I'll talk about data types now. Before talking about data types, I'll give you a brief about Java language, the importance of Java, which I didn't take up as of now because I wanted to take up after teaching you this much. Okay, now if you go to your project, if you go to the source folder, then this is the first java class.java file, right? Inside this directory there is a bin folder as well. If you open this bin folder, there would be a first java class file. This class file is the executable one. This class file is something which can be executed on any operating system provided that Java is installed on that operating system. Okay, so I am just telling you for this, for your knowledge, because if you're gonna make a career in Selenium with Java, you should have at least the knowledge of what a class file is. Okay, why class file is so famous? It's famous because it can be executed on any platform. You make the class file on Windows, deploy it on Unix based server, and that will work. That's why Java with Selenium is so famous. You make this Selenium code on Windows platform on Eclipse, right? And then you deploy that code on Unix based server and you can run that code. But the only difference is over there while executing you will need AND, because on Unix or Linux shell you cannot have Eclipse over there. So for that you use AND to run your scripts. The common thing is that the class file will run on Windows, the class file will run on the server, the Unix server, right? On Windows Eclipse will run it, on server Ant will run it. Okay, so this is a brief overview that why Selenium is so important with Java. Okay, because the main reason being Java is a platform independent language. By platform independence means different operating systems. Okay, even if you make in Windows Server 2003, you can run the code in XP or vice versa, right? Now I will talk about data types. Data types are there in every programming language. For example, int, byte, character. Okay, these all are data types, and many of you must have read about them when you were in college or some other time, right? So the first data type is integer, that is int. You see, as soon as I write int, the color becomes red. So in Eclipse, all the words which have the color red are known as the reserved keywords. That means that these keywords are already defined in the Java language. Okay, so like over here, this is the public is a keyword from Java language, class is a keyword from Java language, void is a keyword from Java language. Similarly, sorry, int is also a keyword from Java language. If I write int I equals to 100, that means that I in the memory there's a memory location whose name is I, and 100 has been stored inside that memory location. Okay, on the next line, if I write system.out.println and I want to print the value of that location, then you write system.out.println I. Okay, and when you run the code, it will print 100. Some people make a mistake. They make a mistake that they put I in double quotes. Now when you put I in double quotes, I will be printed as it is. The value inside I will not be printed. You see that? I gets printed as it is. So if you want to print the value inside the memory location I, you need to assign it a value and don't write it in double quotes. On the next line, if I change the value of I to 1000, I don't need to declare it again like this. Okay, you can simply change the value to 1000 and print system.out.println I again, and when you run this, it will print the updated value. Okay, so the declaration is just done once. So what is int? Int means an integer. It can store integer values. Similarly, we have something known as long. I will write long z equals to some number. It can also be used to store integers. But there is a potential difference between int and long. Okay, the size of int is 32 bits and the size of long is 64 bits. This is not required in Selenium. Just remember, if you have a very big number which you cannot store inside an integer, you can store it inside a long. Long is double as the capacity of int. Okay, now the only thing is that both the data types int and long cannot store decimal numbers in them. That is, I cannot write int I equals to 100 point some number. I will get an error. Okay, so to store decimal numbers, you need to use something known as double. You write double d equals to some number, decimal number. Right? So double can be used to store decimals and it can be used to store integers and decimals both. Okay, I can also write double d equals to 91. Okay, so int, long and double are three data types we have just seen. Okay, now there is another data type known as character. Char c equals to, in single quotes you write the character. The character can be English character, the character can be French, Chinese, any character, but there should be just one character. You cannot write multiple characters inside it. Okay, so just one character at a time inside this. Now there's one more known as boolean. Boolean b equals to, I write true. This can only take true and false values. Okay, boolean b equals to true if I write, then boolean can only take true and false values. Now boolean is used especially in if statements. Okay, I'll come over to if statements in some time. right? First let me show you a small example, that is if I write system.out.println 99 and I run this program, this will print 99, right? But if I write system.out.println 2 greater than 1, okay, system.out.println 2 greater than 1. Now greater than is a comparison operator, it compares 2 with 1, and if I run this, this will print true. That means this is truth that 2 is greater than 1. If I write 2 greater than 11 or 111 and run it, this will print false. So the conditional operators, they always send the output in the Boolean type. Okay, the conditional operators are like, this is the sign of greater than, this is the sign of less than, this is greater than, equal to, less than, equal to. For comparison equality you have to put double equal to. If I write over here 88 double equals to 88, so this will check whether 88 is equal to 88 or not, and when I run this prints true. Fine. So now this is the sign of not equal to. So all these comparison operators, they come very handy in case of if statements. Right? Now if I write over here if true, I hardcode true over here and I write system.out.println pass. Right? And I run this code, this will print pass, because in the if statement I have given the condition to be true. Instead of hardcoding true, I can give some condition, that is if 9 is greater than 2, then print pass. When I run this, this prints pass. I can store these two numbers in some variable. I can write int I equals to 100 and int j equals to 200, and I can give the condition that if I is greater than j, right, then, or int z and y, okay, if z is greater than y, right, I think I have already declared a variable called z, so I'll take the variable called x over here. So if x is greater than y over here, that means 100 is greater than 200, then print that x is the greatest, and along with it I need to print the value of x, that is I will print x is the greatest plus x. So this line will print the value of x along with the string that x is the greatest. Plus is the concatenation operator here. It will concatenate the value of a variable with a string. Fine. When I run this, nothing will be printed because 100 is not greater than 200. If I write 600 over here and run this, this will print x is greater and the value of x along with it. Right? Now if this condition is not satisfied, then I'll have to write else. Else system.out.println y is the greatest. So this logic finds the greatest between x and y. So when I run this still prints x is greater. But if I make the value of y as 800 and run it, this will print y is greater. So this is a simple if else statement. If starts with a bracket, ends with a bracket, and else also starts with a bracket and ends itself with a bracket. Right? If you just have one line after the if statement, it's not mandatory to give the curly bracket. Okay, I can omit the curly bracket in this case if I just have one line after the if statement. Okay, now practically you can also use nested if else statements. That is, if there are three numbers, int a1 equals to 100, int b1 equals to 200, and int c1 equals to 300. And using Java, I need to find the greatest of these three numbers, right? So I will write an if statement that if a1 is greater than b1, along with that if a1 is greater than c1. Now ampersand, this is the sign of and. That means the condition on left hand side and right hand side should evaluate to a boolean type, and the conditions will be ANDed together. So if both the conditions are true, then only the control will go inside the if statement. That is, if a1 is greater than b1 and a1 is greater than c1. That means a1 is greater than b1 as well as c1, then print a1 is greatest. Along with it, print the value of a1. Else if, I am using a nested else if statement here. That is an if condition along with else. That is, else is if b1 is greater than c1. Now the control will come inside this else only if the first condition fails. That is, a1 is not greater than b1 as well as c, or not greater than c1. Then we check if b1 is greater than c1, then print that b1 is the greatest, right? If a1 is not the greatest, then somebody from b1 and c1 has to be greatest. So I print b1 is the greatest one. Else, now I give the default else statement. That is, if a1 is also not the greatest one, b1 is also not the greatest one, that means simply c1 is the greatest. I am assuming that all the three numbers will not be equal, and then writing the logic, right? So when I run this code, this prints c1 is the greatest and it is equal to 300. If I make b1 as 2700 and I run this code, this will print b1 is the greatest and the value of b1, that is 2700. So this is a simple program which describes your printing, which describes your data type, which describes your if statements, right? Now there is one more thing in Java known as string. What a string is? String is something which can hold number of characters together like this. I have declared a string str equals to hello there, how are you, right? So it is something which is containing lots of characters, but you see that the color of string is not reddish in color. Like, string is not reddish in color. Out here these all data types are reddish, string is not. This is because string is not a data type. It is a class. It is a predefined, it is an inbuilt class in Java, right? So we use the features of that class. We will go into the depth of string class when we actually study the module number. Out here, when we study the module number 7, we will actually study the string functions and in-depth knowledge of string, that is how to manipulate a string. Like, string manipulation functions are there in every language, and in Java as well the functions are there. But I am not going to talk about string right now. I will talk about it only after I have talked about the concept of objects in Java. Okay, so regarding the first module, we have completed the topics. right? We completed data type, platform independence, concept of class files, overview and all everything. So you guys can watch this video, right? Many of you must be having the access and your accounts. You will be able to log in and go to your accounts and all and check everything out. Okay, so thank you.